You just make sure it's on YouTube.
Wouldn't want to miss that.
Are you recording? We don't want a lot of email.
I got it up, Fluffy.
All right.
I just wanted to log into YouTube to make sure it's broadcasting, you know? Because otherwise we'll get finds it. Oh, did you look at the Facebook post that Tammy did?
No.
It was so cute. Oops, sorry. That's my attorney.
That's on YouTube?
Yeah, that's YouTube. That's our board meeting.
Touchscreen keeps everyone happy. The Subaru Crosstrek.
That's all right.
Dog tested, dog approved.
My grandson's 5 years old now. He's getting really good with the iPad. He's finding everything.
Can you
around
please
that
just
place.
hear me out? No.
Jeff, do you have it? What is it? I think it's called Disney Watch.
We're on.
Watch that a lot?
Yes, I know.
Bailey has that on all the time.
1 minute.
We go to YouTube more and get some of the kid shows there.
How do you use all the subscription services? I got the box.
So I got all these services, they got all Disney on there and all new movies, live TV. It works good.
I know my dad did that. My concern with that is I feel like I'm gonna go spend $300 on a box, and that's definitely pirating it somehow, and it's gonna get shut down. The second I go spend it.
If you figure if you get 6 months out of it, you just more than paid for it.
Right.
But now you gotta go get another one or resubscribe to all your other,
Yep.
you know, like all the Amazon movies you have to pay for, they're on there and they're clear, they're good. But once you start, like, Homestead, you guys hear about the Homestead movie with?
Yeah.
So if I try to watch that, because it's not on Amazon or it's on a separate site.
Yeah.
It's on the
Stealing it from
Asian
somewhere
network.
else.
Okay, yeah, it comes in pirated.
Yeah.
So I gotta wait for them.
It's 6 o'clock, Jeff.
All right. I'd like to call the village board meeting to order. Everybody please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call and open meeting law compliance check.
President Jeff Millius.
Here.
Trustee Jay Pecca.
Here.
Trustee Gary Finch.
Here.
Trustee Dylan Newman.
Here.
Trustee Jim Hurt.
Here.
Mr. President, you do have a quorum of your village board. Also present is DPW Director Bart Baltels, and you are in full compliance with the open meetings law.
Okay. You guys wouldn't mind like to deviate from the agenda and let the sheriff have anything for us or like to report on?
I have nothing for you guys. Do you have anything for us?
I just wanted to let the board know that I talked to Joe a lot, our deputy, and he issued about 47 citations this month so far, April, and the same for May. And he, just so our residents know, everybody's flying down National and Edgewood, and that's where he's not pulling them over for 5 miles an hour. The other thing too, Joe did say, is they're having trouble with people not stopping for buses when the buses are picking up children. So even though the buses are trying to take pictures, if people witness that, to please call the sheriff's department, because he's gonna really start to issue citations if he can catch, because that's so dangerous.
Yep, absolutely.
Sorry, I just wanted to give.
No, that's good. All right, thank you.
All right, thank you guys. Have a good night.
You bet.
Bye, take care.
All right, I'd like to read the notice for possible closed session. Consideration and possible action on a motion to convene into executive session under Wisconsin State Statute 19.85, subsection 1, parenthesis E, deliberating or negotiating the purchasing of public properties, the investing of public funds, or conducting other specific public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session, specifically the proposal from the Wisconsin Department of Transportation for the purchase of land owned by the Village of Vernon adjacent to the exit ramp on I-43, adjacent to Fire Station Number 1. Included in the closed session will be members of the village board and administrator clerk. This will require a roll call vote, and no decision will be made in closed session. Public comments? No public presence, so moving on to miscellaneous matters. Request to broadcast all village board meetings. Gary, I think you brought this one up, so you wanna,
Do we have to make a motion, or just, can we just agree to by consensus?
You really should, on this one, I'd make a motion, or
Okay.
make a motion second, then you guys can discuss it and see where you go from there.
I had a couple of questions on it before we.
All right.
First, I was wondering what other communities are doing. Is it the standard, every broadcasting? I don't know.
I talked to for Big Bend and Village of Waukesha, and they record all meetings, planning commission and board.
Well, they don't record, Big Bend doesn't record all they record their regular meetings in regular plan commission.
They just started it this year.
And I don't know, Waukesha doesn't either.
They said the same thing, that they do record all meetings, so I don't know if that's changed or.
Yeah, and then my other question was, with YouTube, do they store these indefinitely, or they get so full and they kick them off? Because when you go to you search on YouTube for the village board meeting,
Yeah.
you get the last two, and all of a sudden you get one that's a year old and one that's 2 years old. They're not showing up chronological order.
Yeah.
You do if you go to the profile.
Yeah.
But one of the concerns that I had was, we do quite a few Zoom meetings. We don't really have the capability to record a Zoom
No.
meeting. So I don't think we could use the verbiage all village board meetings.
You're
If
right.
that makes sense.
Yeah, Zoom meeting, you'll probably not be able to do it, right?
The other issue too, you haven't decided who's on the finance committee. Is the whole board, that's something you'll have to discuss at the next meeting, but that, if it's a quorum of the board.
Everything as well, yeah. Because the other thing you have to keep in mind is, if Karen's not here, none of us know how to use that.
That's one.
Oh, I'll leave instructions.
Is there ever any way you could cross-train me on that, to get that going if you're not here?
Oh, yeah, I have notes on it.
Coming from the guy who can't log into his laptop.
Yeah, we'll put Jay in charge of that.
What?
I think one of us can handle it.
But
How can
in
we-
reality, we really don't have meetings very often outside of our normal
No.
first and third Thursday and the second Wednesday of the month. I'm not trying to schedule, I don't want additional meetings, I don't wanna have to come
Oh, I
here.
agree.
And, I'm kind of like, what do they think we're trying to hide? I mean, because everything we do is usually pushed to the main board meetings. This last one, because we were on a time crunch to get one thing approved,
Right.
and it was a 4-minute long meeting. And now you got the minutes from that meeting in this packet where you can see what the motion was and what was approved. So it's kind of like, okay, we're not hiding anything, it's just,
Well,
isn't really worthwhile to,
I don't know if there's a natural distrust in government now or
Yeah.
something. I really can't tell you. I think we should try to record every normal meeting. If we have if we have to do some negotiating, that's closed session, we're not gonna record any of that.
no, we can't do that in closed session.
No, we can't do that. But some of the Zooms we can't do, but people will can look and see if we're gonna have a Zoom meeting, they can pop onto it, can't they?
Mm-hmm.
And there's also minutes from Zoom meetings.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
there's
all the
also-
meetings have
They can
minutes.
read the minutes and stuff, but I think people are more like that little meeting we had last week, for some reason, it's a big deal to them, so.
And I don't think that that's a big deal, I think we could record that. I'm just
Sure.
saying we can't use the word all, because all is, it's gonna get expensive.
Could you use all in-person board meetings? Is that?
In-person board meetings would be pretty much everything we just said.
Staff, you gotta think about staff
What do
too.
you
Yeah,
think?
that's the other thing.
I don't know if we're gonna be having many
Wait.
staff meetings, Ramsey doesn't wanna drive out here.
I don't
I don't.
I don't see the
need
value.
for-
Do you see the value in them?
We don't get anything done more in a staff meeting than we do in a normal board meeting.
The other
Well,
thing,
the only thing good about a staff meeting is you have the attorney here and the planner and the building inspector. So you got the input from all three of them on a certain issue,
Sure.
but no decisions were made in staff meetings, it all went to the board or plan commission the next meeting,
Yeah.
which is kind of a little bit of,
But we could probably get away with doing them more on a as-needed basis rather than a quarterly basis. Especially if,
Saves
you
on
know,
our
the attorney costs.
yeah, because, you got travel time with the attorney too. And it's expensive to have them come.
yeah, and he has said if you want him to, he'd rather Zoom in, which is, and not watch the whole meeting, because, oh my God, that's expensive.
In our finance meetings we have.
Yeah, if you have a majority of the board, then
Yeah.
then that's a board meeting.
Okay. All right.
Oh, wow.
But anyways, so that's kind of, anything we can record, like last week's meeting, we can, but it just,
It's not hard to do.
it doesn't
Yeah,
cost,
I
I
mean-
found out it doesn't cost anything.
No, I just,
Ultimately, yeah, I mean, we could do something along the lines of record village board meetings, like a normal village board meeting. Even if it were, you know, an additional one outside of the first and third Thursdays.
You know what I could draft is a nice resolution that if before the meeting, or at the meeting, I could put on the agenda, right, if you want to publish it, or broadcast it, and depending on the agenda, I mean, it'll give you some flexibility. I mean, if it's all gonna be closed session items,
the other problem is too, it's like, you say all meetings must be broadcast. What happens when this stuff goes down,
Then you're screwed.
and
Yeah.
then we can't have a Thursday night meeting?
No, it
Yeah, then
doesn't.
you can't approve APs, and yeah.
Well, if this goes down, and we're having a normal meeting, we can't get it up, that's too bad, they don't get
Yeah.
it recorded.
Well, I'm
They've
just
got,
saying
they've
that-
got minutes,
That's the
they've got,
problem with
they can.
making an ordinance saying that
Yeah.
you wanna do all.
Yeah,
So we gotta be
that's-
careful how
that's
we
the
word
issue.
it. Yeah, we're not,
Cause all of
locking
a
us
sudden
into
now we're going
something.
another, you know, on a Thursday night, you can't do it for another 24 hours, then you're into the next week and you're not paying bills.
and that's the problem we're having with making up all the old minutes that haven't been done from 2020-24. There's no recording of it. So it's really hard to do minutes when he didn't do anything, and you guys gotta, there's no recording, yeah. So,
yeah, the previous clerk administrator didn't do us any favors.
well, let me draft a resolution, and not an ordinance, a resolution that you guys could look at, and then use your discretion based upon, you know, I mean, it's so easy to put a meeting up. And even if I'm not here, Ron could come and have one of the girls, I'd have you covered if something would happen. But at least you'd have flexibility that the first thing on your agenda is to broadcast the meeting, and then it would be on.
Right.
Does that sound
Good,
good?
yeah.
Give you flexibility based on that?
Pretty much anything where we're not gonna spend any money, I'm good with, so.
Yeah.
So I'll get something for you guys for the next board meeting. Is that
All right,
okay?
cool.
All right.
The other thing I wanted to get you to, the county board now, they have, I wanted to get you information on the committee of the whole, where they have an agenda that they've talked about. And they put everything, all the items on an agenda, and if no county supervisor has any objection, they make a motion to approve everything in one motion. Their county board meeting, committee of the whole, they're like 4 minutes.
Wow.
I'll get you the information on that too. But if any county board member says, I want this on the agenda, then they have to pull it. But I thought I learned that yesterday at the county, so I'll get you that information too. I mean, nothing controversial if it's, you know, something fluffy.
Okay.
Sound good?
Yep.
All right, Vernon brush drop off and brush pickup. Brett, you wanna give us any update? How's it going with receiving brush from Big Ben, and
That went good, they're done dropping off.
they're done now?
So yeah, I separated their piles so we can build them accordingly after we grind. Yeah, they didn't bring a ton. It isn't gonna take us a long time to grind that up, and then we'll just send the bill over to them so they can pay their portion for the grinder and whatnot. If Eric wants his chips, he can come get his pile of chips, and we'll go from there. People came today. We had, I don't know, 6, 7 people. Somebody came with a full dump trailer today, so I mean.
They came last week too.
Yes, people started coming last week and asking if they could come in. If, you know, I had no problem as long as they sign on the sheet and there was somebody here to dump them in the right spot. But, so yeah, people are coming. They're starting to
Yeah.
dump it off.
Well, right now, there's piles of sticks alongside the roadways.
There is those, yeah.
And those people were not aware that we weren't gonna pick up sticks anymore. Sounds like playing a game. But it was, so they may have no way of breaking it down, you know?
Right.
So he has an idea that we could do a hybrid where one time during the year we pick up the sticks and people can pay for it. You can get registered to pay. and then we pick up the sticks. And that way the people that don't pay don't have to, you know, they don't have to pay, they don't send any sticks. But the people that could use the help, and my thinking is, and it probably interferes with some of the stuff you're talking about, is doing it like on a springtime basis. Because once the winter's over, your yard's full of sticks and stuff, and then you start cutting down branches back on the trees, and you haven't got a lot of leaves on them. You try to do it in the fall, you got leaves, branches, and all the other stuff too. So I would do it in the springtime, charge, and then send the mulch out.
Like, I mean, as I said in the past, I'll pick up if you guys want me to pick up. That's not a problem for me. In spring, fall, time of year isn't an issue for me. I can make
Okay.
it work. It's nice in the spring to not be doing it because it gave us time to get baseball, get lawns cut,
Okay.
and stuff like that before summer helps here. That's two of us doing those things and stuff like that. So I mean, regardless, however you guys want brush picked up, if you want to pick up or drop off, I'll do whatever's being asked.
I don't know, but if people start paying for it, you may not, you know, we had so much brush a year ago.
So I think,
We had a hard winter and there was all kinds of pickups.
I think that's a good idea, just because the people that do take advantage of it, you can charge them accordingly.
Yeah.
Because that, I think, is a lot of the problem that's causing it to take as long as it did, for instance, last spring. You had some houses that would put 10 yards of brush out. Well, what do? I mean, I mailed letters last year, and I picked it up still. And I said, you know, if there's gonna be a pile this big next year, I'm not gonna be picking it up. But, so, if we do it, and you wanna go by charging people, I was told that was tried once, and they struggled.
Twice. We did it twice.
I would think it's a very difficult thing to do, but just trying to be fair about the whole thing too.
Having a register would probably help.
Well,
You
that's,
can register so you're not driving around.
I think if you go that route, you open up some sort of registration for a month before.
Right.
I can make a spreadsheet, I can say, this is where I'm going, this is who's paid, this is the amount they paid, and as long as it's according to size, you know, if somebody pays, you gotta come up with a size. You know, what is the bill gonna be? $50 for this amount, you come up with that size. If they have more than that, they need to realize they're gonna receive another bill, or we're not gonna pick it up.
Right.
That's what we gotta come
Or you
up with.
pick up as much as they paid, leave the rest, I think they would get the message, but
Right.
you can pay more, but.
I like the idea. What I don't wanna do is make it, we have to bill enough to cover expenses, but I don't wanna make it so expensive that we're all of a sudden taking, cause you load it with the excavator, right?
Correct.
And a grapple.
Yeah.
Cause then you have to drive an excavator and a truck all the way across all of Vernon. And that's gonna cost you more money than it would be to just make it a little bit cheaper if, you know, you had multiple people over there.
Correct.
So there is a volume consideration as well.
Just talk, Jay, if you
Well,
turn your
Frank,
microphone.
I'd like to say this, I'd like to say that everything's gotta be called in by a certain date. And
Yeah,
then
you'd have to have
after
that deadline.
No more.
Correct. There would have to be a deadline. Like I said, you'd have to advertise, okay, you need to sign up within this month and be paid. And if you're not paid, we're not coming there. If you were gonna run it that way. Like I said, however you guys really want it to be done, it doesn't matter to me.
I generally think any systems that work are the ones that are best, that are more simple. But I don't know how we're gonna make this totally simple.
Correct.
But, you know, people in this town have had that for a long time. They have both spring and fall.
Right.
So if we did a part of the year and stuff, you know, just one time during the year and then in the fall. And there's I can't remember the woman that called said, you know, she didn't want to burn her sticks, and the fire department says too. You know, you get a dry time of the year and people decide they're not gonna pay to have your sticks picked up, they could start fires, or they could pay, but it makes some sense to do it and see where it goes.
We had quite a few people during the election time that asked if they could pay the DPW department to come and pick this, so they said they'd be happy to pay for it too.
That's great, well, then that's.
I think the hybrid
something to start.
fold would work.
Yeah, as long as we can cover the cost, because
Right.
we don't have money for our fire department right now, so we gotta save what we can.
The night she called, there was that brush fire on 43. That's when, I think her name was Kim.
I think it was Kim.
When she called that day, that night, we had that brush fire on 43.
I had a brush fire in my neighborhood.
We had a fire next door.
2 weeks ago.
It's
Yeah.
been actually a dry spring, it's kinda hard to believe.
But what are you guys gonna do in the fall?
Yeah, what?
What do you guys, are you gonna do a pickup in the fall? That's what they're asking now too.
I'm getting a lot of questions from people, are we gonna pick up? And I explained to them that you guys haven't ruled out fall, because you guys had mentioned that. So,
I would say if we do a pickup, there'll definitely be a charge for it, most likely. And,
I agree, I think we should do something similar, you bill for it, and if it's a pickup, and we offer drop-off as well.
yeah, that's definitely doable. I mean, it's just a fact of how you're gonna
You
run.
can't talk. You can't talk.
yeah, I suppose we could wait and see how it goes here in May, and decide in June what we'll do in fall then, after what kind of results we get here in this, after this pickup.
So we're gonna offer pickup.
Well, let's wait and see how May goes here, and the pickup now goes, but I'm thinking if we do offer any type of pickup, there'll be a charge from now on for it.
You sent out a spreadsheet with the costs, right, from the years prior. Is there, I kind of was going through it, but I didn't see a total cost.
Oh, there's the total,
I saw a bunch of different.
Should be able to sum it all up at the bottom if you take.
it's there, I'll resend it. Because that's
It's in a
it's
spreadsheet.
interesting to see how much money that costs. It's not a,
Yeah,
If you do
there's a
full
lot,
sum,
a
with
lot that
cells.
goes in, right?
Yeah, there's,
I mean, I'm sure you could get rid of the mulch, the chip delivery, and
chip delivery doesn't really cost us much, because we were billing for that already. I mean, so
Yeah,
that's pretty much,
it's
I mean,
$30 a load,
okay,
so they get.
they're pretty much paying for the diesel.
paid for the fuel,
Yeah, to get it there.
Yeah.
So that's not in that cost. That's, the cost you're seeing that's the cost of the wear and tear on vehicles, labor, diesel, and you might be thinking about the rental of the grinder. That's a big expense of it.
We're gonna have to grind her anyways, right? People bring.
We're gonna have to
in.
grind it, but I would probably expect less if we're not picking it up. So hopefully we won't have a bill like last year.
Brett, did you send him the picture of that guy that cut down an entire tree?
I did not.
You should see that. He cut an entire tree, and it's in the, it's in his ditch. You can see where he cut the tree down.
Yeah, in the photo, it's right next to the drive. and-
Oh, at Heather Ridge.
And he moved it over to the ditch for us to pick it up for brush.
Surprise!
It was wishful thinking.
Yeah, it's nice this year that we're sharing the cost with Big Ben. I mean, that's a huge
That'll help a little, yeah.
benefit.
They don't have that much though, right?
No, but, I mean,
Every little bit.
yeah,
But the idea is, if we start doing it in the fall, this fall, we can just keep doing it in the fall. You know,
but like I said, either way, however you wanna do it, you can do.
I'm trying to economize by not doing it twice a year, but we're getting paid for it.
Well, we're not, I mean, it's not like we're gonna make scads of money.
No, I know.
It's just gonna help alleviate the cost a little bit, is what it's gonna do, and it's also kinda helping them out in regards, they don't got anywhere to put it. And so, it's not hurting my pile back there at all. And so, it sits there for a month, and then it'll be gone. I talked to Brian the other day, early June, he plans on coming in, so.
And this town is also aging, so it kind of helps people to help them pick up the brush.
It does, but again, going back to what Jeff said, you gotta look at the monies somewhere. If you're struggling with monies, it is a service that is more costly than I think a lot of people realize.
Are we gonna do anything about this spring, about people who, put it out already? and
Yeah, so we
Do
have,
we send them a letter and offer to do it for a charge, or do we let the pile sit there until fall?
well, that's another way to do it. It's in the spring, what's it interfering? You know, if you come and get it in the fall before snow and all that stuff. But we could do that, or do the other thing where find out if people want it picked up, and charge them for it.
Right, yeah, I mean, like I said, that's a decision for you guys. I'll pick it up tomorrow if you guys
Okay.
vote on it. You know what I mean? So it's really on what
When's
you
the
guys,
grinder coming?
June.
Do we have a specific date set for it?
I don't have a specific date. I just talked to Brian to make sure he was gonna be okay with June sometime, and he said that should be no problem, and
Yeah, 'cause it's crunch time, we're not gonna have time to be able to do any kind of pickup.
Yeah, it's just,
I know next week I have a master machine rented already, we're picking it up tomorrow, so it would be tough to do it next week if you guys were to decide to try to do
Yeah,
something like
I
that.
think
but-
you wouldn't wanna be making too many trips back and forth, you'd wanna say, all right, we're gonna do pickups only this week, we're taking, 250 reservations, the first come, first served for this spring. In the fall, we can do a full open,
yeah, we'll kind of wait and see too, as you're driving around, how many piles you see out there.
They're here and there, there's enough of them around, that's.
For the few too, it's like, either they're gonna pay you or they're gonna pay the landscaper to come in and
Well, and
pick
at
it
some
up
point,
too, so it's,
exactly.
at some point though too, you gotta hold them accountable to read the newsletter too. Like, cause it was
Yeah.
advertised
That's true, yeah, I know.
that there was no pickup. Plenty of people called, they read the newsletter, they called to find out what was happening. So I mean, if you do cater to them per se, then what happens next spring if you guys decide to continue to do it fall, when somebody says, well, I didn't realize. Are we gonna do it again next spring then, from 250? So it's really, we gotta make a choice and kinda stick with it. And not necessarily cater to people also.
so, yeah, I say we just put it on a pickup, he's gonna be crack filling now. You're gonna be busy the next couple of weeks.
Well, this coming week, we got a mastic machine rented. As soon as we're done with that,
That's
I would
what I
like-
call crack filling,
I
but
would,
yeah.
I would like to rent a car wagon, as long as they still have one available.
Okay.
Did we ever sell ours?
We did.
Alright.
Well, staying once more on the sticks, if we're gonna pick them up in the fall for people, and charge them then, if the sticks don't bother people in the ditch right now, until fall,
Yeah, I mean, that doesn't
We can
hurt,
ju- we
doesn't
can-
hurt me
we-
any.
they can sign up for it, and then we'll come get it in the fall.
It's just the weeds grow up in there, it looks a little unsightly.
Yeah.
And then the weed commissioner's gonna come after.
The other problem too is if they get in the ditch and then they plug the culverts, that's a problem too.
Oh, guys, one thing I wanted to say, well, and Brett, I talked to you about this earlier. The town of Ottawa, they do have people that volunteer to watch, and let their people bring in their yard waste and sticks or whatever. So, what I think, next spring or whatever, during the month of April, from like maybe 7 o'clock until 10 o'clock in the morning, if we could get volunteers, to let them come in and drop it off, that would be great.
Like I said, my only concern with that is if a volunteer doesn't show up,
People not showing up.
then it still has to be open. Now you're accounting for a full-time employee to sit at a gate and check people's IDs.
Right, because I had 3 people that were willing this spring.
No, and I understand that they're willing, but there's no way to hold a volunteer accountable. If they just decide not to come in on Tuesday, that they volunteered, on Tuesday we're still open. On Tuesday, myself, Mike, somebody else is gonna be sitting there while it's open. And that's my only concern with that idea. I love the idea, but realistically, I can guarantee you there will be days
Yeah.
that somebody will be sitting there.
People don't show up for work. They do it.
You don't think we have enough time to fit one in, eh? By the time that shipper comes, or you don't have a date set?
I'm sure we could I would just have to, we could, if you guys voted to have a pickup, we could make it happen at the end of this month, but, we'd have to giddy up for sure and get some sort of sign-up sheet, and it would be open for a very small period of time for us to be able to.
That's my concern, is we're gonna open it up for a week, and then
If you
We're gonna have
voted
another
for
week.
something like that for now, I think you'd have to open it up for, you'd have to almost try to do it for 2 weeks, because word's gonna get out,
Right.
then,
Might be opening up more.
so
of a
then you're
problem
looking
than
at,
it's worth.
if I'm looking at a calendar, so if you opened it up for the next 2 weeks and said the week of, well, that would suck, the week of Memorial Day, we would almost have to wait to pick up in June, and I'd have to tell Brian, it might be late June or early July before we grind. At that point, I would have to try to push back grinding, because if you open it up for 2 weeks, you're into the 19th, would be the first Monday. Which I guess that would be possible, but how many people are gonna sign up?
But also no guarantees on that we can get the chipper to be rented that late.
And how are you gonna let people know?
Right, well,
Yeah,
that's
that's
my
getting
concern.
people to
People,
know.
there's a lot of elderly people that don't go on Facebook or don't go on the website,
That's why picking it up in the fall.
So,
If we can live with it now, pick it up in the fall, and if you wanna start picking it up in the fall, that's okay. You can pick it up this fall and charge, and then start the next spring if you wanna do it in the spring. It's every spring but no more fall, whatever. But I mean, you can work around anything then.
Right, and we can move the dates around some a little bit, we could start it
Sure.
earlier or something, I mean,
Just try to plan a little
yeah,
better than.
try to plan it a little bit better and advertise it a little bit better. I think if you,
But I'd leave the sticks now in the fall, and have people, and then set it up as, pick up the stuff. This is the way it's gonna be, but we're gonna do it in the spring, except for this fall, and just do it every spring. If you wanna do it in the spring, I'm partial to it, but I'll live with it. I don't use it, so I have someone come pick up the yard waste away.
I mean,
So,
if, like I said, it doesn't really matter to me, I can make it work as long as I know when it's gonna happen and how you guys want it done.
well, it's just nice if we can get it later in the year, where it gives you more time doing all your ditch and road work and the
Well,
backfill
and I
and,
think,
you know, all that needs
I
to
think
get
that's
done.
where, if you moved it to earlier in spring, that could be beneficial. If you push it even earlier in spring, some people might not be thrilled, and there might be years where you got a little bit of snow still on the ground, but, that would be more convenient from our standpoint, but if you want it right now, it is, it's what it is, we'll make it work, you know?
Figure that out in
When you were-
late fall when we're planning for spring again, but I guess for now, what I'm grasping is we're gonna not do anything for this spring, we're gonna try and figure out a number to charge for pickup in the fall and still offer drop-off.
Correct.
And
You need a landscaper to go
spring.
around and say, how much would you charge to pick up these piles of brush? What,
I think you're.
we'll be picking it up for
I think the
250
biggest
bucks
thing
each.
that the biggest two things is you need to figure out a number and an amount.
Sure.
And it can't be a subjective amount. It needs to be very clear and concise, something that everybody understands and simple. That way, if it's
trees get cut in winter.
You can-
bigger than that, it's, you know, there can be some sort of secondary charge or a letter saying we didn't take all of this because you were bigger than said size. And it's not subjective at all. It's very simple, you know.
So let's pick it up in the fall, and if we want to start next spring, just do it in the spring pickup. And
That's
then people get used to it.
let's,
But we'll kind of clean it up this fall and get started and get a sign-up sheet for people that want to start in the spring, so they can take stuff down, and people that haven't taken it down will know that's spring. They'll take it down, and you can start picking it up early in the spring. And that way they can grind it and have mulch if they want to that year.
Yep.
But then all the sticks come down in the winter time, and that's the time to, I think, to do it. What do you think of that? I mean,
well, we gotta come up with a price first, so it's, you know,
I know.
we
If we-
worried
if we
about
do
that
it.
tonight though, or are we, yeah, that's kind of what I figured.
yeah.
We
We'll
have
get-
to,
we'll get
we have
through
to
May
discuss
here.
a little bit more and figure out the metrics of everything before we make a decision for fall. We've got some time.
If you pick up a pile,
Mhm.
like you have, like a normal pile that people put out 8 foot, but how long does it take you to pick it up?
What do you mean by 8 feet? like
You
an
got-
8-foot pile.
You got 2 or 3 people working there.
Well-
2 people working there. What are the wages? Let's say it takes you 10 minutes to pick up a thing. You can actually come up with something.
Oh, I could break that down, absolutely, if that's what you're looking for.
Why don't you break it down and we'll see where that is.
Just their hourly wage?
Hourly wages plus some fuel and
Benefits.
stuff.
Yeah.
Wear
okay.
and tear.
Yeah, there's a lot.
So
Benefits
there's a
also.
lot of stuff in consideration. What we want to do is it's convenience for our citizens, and that's good. But at the same time, a lot of our citizens don't partake in it, so they don't necessarily want to pay for it. So the people that use it pay for it.
Okay, yeah, no, I can figure out that
But
kind of number.
you can always figure out something, how long it takes them, basically.
Yeah.
So you'll come up with some sort of idea, it's $30 or it's 35 or 40 or whatever it is.
Right. Yeah,
Think about-
like I said, the one other thing you gotta account for is the size of the pile.
Right.
Because like Karen said, somebody has a whole tree they had to cut down, but rather than having the tree company pick it up, they just moved it to the side of the road to try to save a few $100. So, I mean, that's what we're trying to combat, is people taking advantage of it, is all it is.
I agree.
I
So
agree, I
we
see
just-
large piles.
Yeah, just say in the thing, this is what we're picking up.
Right,
Anything bigger than this, it's on you. You gotta do something with it. And just let it go at that, so.
So what Brett's
picture.
saying is he wants a specific metric, like
can you
8
say,
by 8 by
Yeah.
6 feet tall.
say a
He
cubic
wants
yard
specific
or
metric.
something like that, that's.
Or
the
king-size mattress.
That, yeah, something that you can.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
So you can equate a cubic yard the size of a bathtub. So people, somebody that might not know what a cubic yard is, then, okay, you can equate that, it's the size of a bathtub. If it's bigger than a bathtub, we're driving by it. Or if you're gonna say, just come up with something as a collective group by you guys, and then I
What are
can.
we using now? 8 foot by 5 feet by 3
It was
feet
pretty
high
big.
or something like that?
I figured out about what a full truck was, and that's what I said I wouldn't take more than, and I still mailed out, 10 letters last year that you took some houses well over 1 truck out of there, over a 5-year dump truck, so, and it's
If
packed
we-
in there too.
If people stick to the rules and do the 8 by 5 or so, how many of those can you put in a dump truck?
That's one full dump truck, Paul.
Really,
You might
just
be
for one pile?
8 feet wide or long by 5 feet by 5 feet, yeah.
Yeah, is it?
And depends on how big the logs are and how bad we can compress it, but,
Okay.
yeah. A lot of times, I figured that's about a truck, you might be able to get another grapple thing on top, but you don't want them blowing all over the road, and that just creates more time and labor
Alright.
out of it.
Well, if we can get some kind of idea of how much time and cost there is, we can throw something together.
Yeah.
So we have something that we're dealing with, so we're not way off one way or the other. Something close to what it costs us, and we can go from there.
Sounds good,
Okay,
I can do
Yeah, we'll
thank you.
bring it back up in June, and we can get some numbers. Moving on, ATV and UTV uses of vehicles in the village of Vernon. We got a couple more ordinance examples.
You really should, Mr. President, you really should hear from the DPW director about the signage issue that we didn't budget for, that we'd have to do by law.
Ooh,
The
So-
signage that has to go on every single road in Vernon that we didn't budget for.
Yeah. like,
77
my-
signs.
My one concern with that, and there's actually more than that after looking at this.
Yeah, it's probably 140.
DOT, so if we pass that law or ordinance, I have to post on every entry road that they're legal on our roads. I also have to post at every crossing of a county highway or state highway with a 36 by 36 sign stating where we're allowing it. I do know, I talked to a few people this afternoon when I saw this on the agenda, the county is frowning upon this. There's other municipalities that are passing it and allowing it. The county themselves are kind of against it currently.
Well, they have to be.
So, yeah, but, and also the state requires the signs I have to hang. So, and I definitely didn't budget, for that purpose for this year. So it would definitely hurt my sign budget.
well, And how much would the signs cost?
I had some numbers, so your regular size ones are about $80 a piece, and I think I would need somewhere around 75 to 80 of those. And then I didn't count the crossings of the or the state highway. That's a bigger sign, it's required to be a 36 by 36 sign.
So it's gonna get near $10,000 plus the labor that you're gonna go out to.
Yeah, I didn't figure out what the labor was, but I just started getting some rough numbers of signs, because obviously signs can fluctuate by a few bucks depending what you're gonna have it say.
Sure.
And I just asked Lane to give me a number what Muskego paid for their signs when they passed. So I mean, there could be little differences, fluctuations in the price of sign, but yeah, they paid 80 some bucks for their bigger signs per sign. The smaller ones that you need on your local roads, it was right around 50 or 60 bucks, and that's the one I think I would need 75 of about.
Freestanding, so they can't
Yeah,
go
and
on.
they can't be on a post with anything else, so I'd also have to buy posts for them all.
So I thought, like, including labor, you're talking about 20 grand.
I don't, like I said, I don't know the exact numbers, I didn't go that far into it, and I didn't grab the agenda till a little.
6,000 in signs plus posts. I mean, you can be up to.
So it's
10,000
definitely
at
something
least.
you guys,
Well, refresh my memory, why did this thing even come up? Were the people asking for this?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because Muskego just passed it.
Muskego did?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
what kind of triggered enough people are
I
asking.
figured
here.
people asked for it, but I didn't know if it was.
So we tell them now to go drive in Muskego.
Yeah, that's right. Move the Muskego.
Well, let me ask this, it's not, obviously, it's completely out of the question for this year, we just don't have, we can't even afford a fire department, we're not gonna spend money on signs.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I think we only have like 7,000 bucks budgeted for signs, so if I go buy 6,000 bucks for 8 TVs, I'm not gonna be able to replace other signs.
And we can't even afford to replace the signs for the Adopt a Road. There's signage that he needs to do, not that, but just doesn't have the money.
No, so the finance is just, next, ATV use, I think, for this year.
For this year, for sure, I mean, every way I think about it, it doesn't make a whole lot of financial sense, because we could even charge some sort of permit for you to be able to drive, and there's no way we'd make up the money to.
There's a bunch of weird stuff in here. You really
Yeah.
wanna look in these ordinances the state has.
Mhm.
There's all kinds of stuff, like you can't, certain spots, you can't adjust speeds, you can't have a different speed limit. I can email you guys this webpage, I got it sent to me later this afternoon, from Lang. And I actually have a call in with Mark, the owner.
We have it up here too. The, are farmers allowed to go out with their stuff?
I thought we mentioned years ago that was allowed for the, or,
Agriculture.
I think you can. I
Yeah.
think that's a separate.
On their land, you're talking about farmers going on the road with an UTV?
well, just to
Well,
get
they
from
may go to
field to
another
field.
field to feed cows.
Oh, there's residents on our roads all the time right now with
Well,
ATVs.
I know that, I mean, it's legal though?
No, it's not.
Orange Triangle.
It's not legal
Yeah,
for
I'm
them
sure
to drive
there's
on,
some-
but they do.
I don't know.
Because they're agriculture.
Farming.
Yeah, it's like a farm plate probably, I'm sure, just like you put a farm plate on a truck.
Orange Triangle.
You'd never catch a farmer.
Well, I'd love to get a copy of that,
Yeah.
that you're looking at, and, you don't have to do it right this second.
Okay.
No, but I have to explain to the few people that want this, why we're not doing it, and,
Right.
yeah, I didn't realize the signage expense was
Yeah.
needed for this.
Yeah.
And during, Brett can get you, more concrete numbers when you get closer to budget time, and if that's something that you want to look into later.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you could give us an idea of what the labor would cost too. I mean, if we're gonna spend a month putting out signs for golf carts, that's kind of excessive.
Well, according to all the ordinances, you can't even use golf carts, they don't go fast enough.
Nope, they don't go fast enough.
35 is surprised, put enough battery
Golf
in
carts
there.
maybe top out at 15.
No, wasn't though, and it's
Don't say that to Dylan.
Yeah, I'll make one that goes 90, don't say that.
Yeah, good like steering that thing.
the minimum was 30, right? Is what I thought.
Yeah,
30, 35.
35, I think.
over,
Put a
yeah,
Tesla motor on it.
so it's
Challenge accepted.
You know, I wouldn't have a problem with golf carts being used just in their subdivision, you know, if you're driving down to a neighbor's house or something like that.
But you open up that can of worms and you're automatically with this one.
Yeah, and,
It would be nice to have it, but it's a lot of money.
I think for now, we just kick it down the road and revisit come budget time.
yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I mean, and in Vernon too, where are you gonna ride your ATV?
Quick trip.
Yeah, I could
Well,
stay in
that's
my
on-
subdivision, that's about it.
Well, I'm gonna be honest, I think if you're driving one around Vernon right now currently, in your subdivision, normally, I don't think anybody's gonna bug you.
You can't even get to Quick Trip, because that's a county road. You're not allowed.
Go north, cross 164, come south.
And I did ask Joe if he had any issues with this, and he had said he sees people, you know, but they're driving safe and, you know, they're not in the middle of the road. You know, he said if they're causing problems, he would write them a citation, but
Yeah.
it's not done that often, that he sees.
Discretion.
All right, so we'll table that till budget time and see if we have any money for signage at that time. The Wisconsin Department of Transportation offered to purchase village property for the reconstruction of the I-43 South 164 interchange and authorize the village president to sign the agreement. We're gonna have this in closed session, so we'll save that towards the end and get the other stuff done here first. Move on to correspondence and announcements. I'd just like to remind everybody it's brush pickup month. Bring your brush in. Also, road construction is going on. The bridge is out now. You're on Center. You know, it's caught a few people by surprise. Also, Saturday is opening fishing, as well as the Kentucky Derby. Busy day for some. And I'd also like to remind the residents that the Facebook group, Village of Vernon, keeping you informed, and their task force group, Village of Vernon, are not sanctioned at all by the Village of Vernon. Those are all independent groups, which we have no part of, and are not responsible for any of the information or lack of information that is posted on those sites. That is all I have. Trustee Pecca?
Well, I just like everybody to be safe working in their yards, you know, especially working around with power equipment. And I have to announce, that was my dad's hometown, up north. We got hit by a tornado Monday night. They got the warning out and they set their siren off. So please, if I really could ask the people, make sure that they have the proper ways of getting a warning in, especially having a weather radio or having their cell phones. That's about all.
Thank you. Trustee Finch?
For a change, I don't have anything this week.
Trustee Newman?
I've got nothing.
Trustee Earth?
I'm good, thank you.
You guys are making this quick. Village clerk?
Oh, Brett's before me.
Oh,
He's got a 3-hour report.
Pretty short, pretty much been getting parks ready, soccer fields already. Everything's been cut once, needs to be cut again already. Getting the yard cleaned out for this brush drop off for the most part, getting everything shoved around there. The rental for next week. Just miscellaneous spring stuff with the thaw, really. Getting ready for summer now, got the plows off, getting salters cleaned up, cleaned out and greased and put on the shelf. Hopefully we don't need to use them again. That's about really it.
okay.
Okay, Rick.
I just want to let you know in the board packet, in my packet for the board, I put, there's a separate packet, so I won't, you know, go to an open book and, Board of Review. Open book is going to be June 3rd from 3 to 5 p.m. And if that doesn't work for people, they're to call Cal Magnum to get an appointment. And Board of Review board members, that's Thursday, June 12th from 5 to 7. So put that on your calendar. Brett and I attend weekly progress meetings with the Department of Transportation, and I'm going to put those meetings and the minutes in your board packets, so you can see everything that we talk about. And the bridges, they're going to start actually breaking the bridge down next week. So you'll see the bridge coming apart. I also put a couple graphs that the engineer supplied for the department, and then there's a memo from Alan Barrows from the Land Resource Department in regards to the county's recycling efforts. I put that in your packet. And also the village, if people do have complaints about weeds, we're going to handle that internally between Brett and I instead of having a weed commissioner. And people have to understand that, you know, we'll come out and do an inspection, but it's not for people that have their grass not mowed the way that, it's for, we only can do something for a noxious weed. So just so people understand. And that's all I have, Mr. President and board members.
Weeds are growing good. Moving on to finances. We got two batches here. First batch is the amount of $45,319.64. Any questions, errors, concerns?
The technical rescue service, that's just a one-time fee, right? And then they're covered, Vernon's covered for the year from Waukesha, is that
Yes.
accurate?
One went in the 8Ps and one had to go in manual checks because they, we got them the day before, and one was from 23 and the other one's from 24. So, and they did, you know, there's an issue there, but that's between, you know, Alex and the city. But I talked to the treasurer, I talked to the city fire department, they said we owed the bill. So I wanted to get it paid so we could put it in our audit numbers. One is in, you'll see one in your regular APs, and then there's another one in your manual check. So there's two to the city of Waukesha. And you're right, Jim, that's, every year they bill us for their technical services. It's like training that the fire department has to have.
Yeah, is there a motion to approve batch 2025-0501 in the amount of $45,319.64?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Second by trustee Newman. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. We have the other manual checks in the amount of $3,561.
I'll make a motion to approve those manual checks.
Is there a second?
I'll second that one.
Second by trustee Pecca. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Opposed?
Mr. President, can I just tell you one thing on the Foath bill, the big giant Foath bill? I am going to make just one change on that bill. It doesn't affect the total, but on your bill you'll see the paving program at $13,000. But I am going to make a change because Brett told me that he has a professional reimbursement fee for Munson Brothers. It was a bond issue. You'll see the attorney fees next month, but I took $1,260 out of the paving program and charged back to that independent contractor. So it doesn't affect the total. I just wanted to let the board know that we're going to charge, Brett did get a chargeback reimbursement form, so we're charging them for all our planning and legal and engineering costs, just so it doesn't change the total, but I just wanted to let you know that.
All right, thank you.
All right, so the manual checks were approved. Moving on to board minutes, April 17th.
In those minutes for that, in section 10E, it says, I made a motion and it was seconded by me too.
Well, you were really efficient that day.
Yeah. I can't remember whether I made the motion or seconded it, so.
You know what I'll do is I'll go back and on the tape and listen to it. Do you want to table those, or what? I mean, I could just correct them.
We can make the motion with that one correction.
Sure. Yep. I have to read through it and I go,
Hey, I'm really good.
yeah.
So 10A. Okay.
10C.
10C.
Did you want to make the
No, wait a
motion?
minute, 10E.
E, got it, 10E.
Did you want to make a motion and second to approve these minutes?
Why don't I do that?
I'll second
All right, trustee Finch made the motion, second by trustee Newman. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Minutes from April 23rd.
I didn't see anything in those.
That was the 4-minute long meeting.
Yeah, I know.
Not super, not much, room for mistakes there.
No. I'll make a motion to approve the April 23rd, 2025 village board minutes.
Is there a second?
Second.
Go ahead, Bill.
Second by trustee Newman. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Upcoming meeting dates. May 14th will be the village board meeting and planning commission meeting at 6 o'clock. May 15th, we'll have the village board meeting at 6 p.m. June 2nd is open book from 3 to 5, and June 12th is board of review from 5 to 7. And spring brush drop-off has started this month now. Is there a motion to convene into closed session for the Wisconsin Department of Transportation offer to purchase village property for reconstruction of the I-43 South 164 interchange and authorize village president to sign the agreement?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
I'm gonna fall asleep first.
Motion made by trustee Newman, second by trustee Pecca.
President Millies,
Aye.
trustee Pecca,
Aye.
trustee Finch,
Aye.
trustee Newman,
Aye.
trustee Hurth.
Aye.
Mr. President, note for the record that you do have a quorum of your village board who voted unanimously to move into closed session.
All right, thank you. Thank you for coming.
See ya.